Good evening, America. I'm Jeffrey Ohl, and today we'll be discussing the First Amendment, specifically the freedom of assembly and the role of the Supreme Court in defining it. I'll discuss several aspects of the freedom of assembly. First, I'll discuss its origins. Second, I will talk about the government's power to limit freedom of assembly. Third, I will discuss major developments and Supreme Court decisions regarding free assembly. Finally, I will tell you what I plan to do regarding freedom of assembly if elected. But before I start, I would like to thank you all for attending. The origins of the freedom of assembly are in the First Amendment. The origins of the First Amendment are in turn found in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. The freedom of assembly clause of the First Amendment reads, "The right of the people peaceably to assemble." While this clause is hardly longer than the average sentence, it has been the subject of numerous developments in Supreme Court cases since its ratification in the early 1790s. Note that this clause includes the word peaceably, which means that if a group or individual is holding a violent protest or demonstration, they are not protected under the First Amendment. Now that I have introduced the freedom of assembly to you, I will move on to Supreme Court cases and other developments. Under the time, place, manner rule, the government has a say in when, where, and how demonstrations are conducted. The government, however, may not make rules regarding the conduct of the protests. The right to freedom of assembly only applies to public property. Protests may not be conducted on private property. In addition to the time, place, manner rule, local governments may also require notice to be given before public property is used, and many places also require protesters to obtain a license. A major case regarding the manner of expressing freedom of assembly is Gregory v. Chicago, 1969. Comedian Dick Gregory and others had been marching, singing, and chanting from Chicago City Hall to the mayor's home. The group was demanding the firing of the city's school superintendent and an end to school segregation. Several hundred people joined Gregory in this march, and the crowd had grown to a significant size. Bystanders began throwing things at the protesters while also yelling insults at them. The local police soon realized that they would not be able to stop serious violence from breaking out, so they told Gregory and the other demonstrators to leave. When Gregory and the other demonstrators refused to do so, they were arrested and charged with disorderly conduct. Convictions were overturned by the Supreme Court because it was the bystanders, not the protesters, who acted violently. The Supreme Court ruled that as long as protesters are not being violent, they are protected under the First Amendment. This was a landmark decision because it tested the boundaries of freedom of assembly. Many demonstrations concern abortion law or take place at abortion clinics. For this reason, several recent cases on abortion issues have played a big role in defining freedom of assembly. One of these cases was Madsen v. Women's Health Services, Inc., 1994. The Supreme Court upheld a decision by a Florida judge that protesters could not block the way to the abortion clinic. The judge ordered that no one could protest within 36 feet of the abortion clinic, and the Supreme Court found this to be a reasonable order. This was a notable case because it was one of the first times that buffer zone around an abortion clinic was enforced, so it set a precedent for future Supreme Court cases regarding a buffer zone. This buffer zone has made it safer for American women to obtain abortions. Now that you know a little bit more about the freedom of assembly and the Supreme Court's role in defining it, here are some of my thoughts on freedom of assembly. I believe that freedom of assembly is one of the main ways that Americans can get what they want from government peaceably, so it should definitely be protected by the Supreme Court and the U.S. government. So if elected, I vow to protect all